Hi, I'm Beth Baldwin, and I'd like to take you on a wonderful tour of San Francisco today. We're going to see a couple of sites, and you're going to get to experience what we love about the Bay Area. So, first, I wanted to start by asking a few questions. Number one, how many of you follow Major League Baseball? Number two, how many of you actually watch the World Series? Okay. Number three, how many of you remember the 1989 World Series? The 1989 World Series was called the Battle of the Bay, and it was between the San Francisco Giants and the Oakland A's. So that day we had lots of action happening, people coming from the North Bay, the East Bay, but there was another big event that happened on that day. It was the earthquake of 1989, or the Loma Prieta earthquake. So that day was met with much anticipation. A lot of companies had let their employees go home early in anticipation of the game. So that really helped in terms of traffic, less traffic on the freeways. So we let our employees go early, and I was actually still in the Embarcadero when it struck at 5:04. So the earthquake struck, it shook for 15 seconds and registered 6.9 on the Richter scale. It was very scary indeed. And in fact, the ferry building clock, which was right in the center of the Embarcadero, stopped at 5:04. And for many years after that, until it was fixed, that was a reminder of what we had gone through on that day. There was much destruction with the 1989 earthquake. The marina caught on fire. There was bridges that collapsed. But having said that, what did come out of it, which was good, was a revitalization of the ferry building and the Embarcadero. One thing I wanted to tell you about was the ferry building clock only stopped 2 times in previous times. One was the 1906 earthquake, and the second time was the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. So now we're going to look at the ferry building. The ferry building is iconic. It was built in the 1800s. It was the second largest port in the world. With the advent of the bridges, such as the Golden Gate Bridge and the East Bay Bridge, travel was really hampered, and there was a decline there for many years. But it was vitalized in the 1990s, and now it has become one of the most exciting places to visit in the Bay Area. In fact, one of my very favorite places. You can find everything in the ferry building. You can go to a 5-star restaurant, such as the Slanted Door, which is Vietnamese food. You can have a hamburger. You can go to a bookstore. You can go to a flower shop. You can go eat to a cheese shop. My favorite thing to do there is go to Hogs Island. You might have to wait in line 30 minutes or so, but once you get in, you're going to have the best oysters and the best clam chowder you ever had. So it's worth a visit to the ferry building. Has a lot of history, a lot of memories, and it's located right on the Embarcadero. So the Embarcadero is the ferry building's in the center, and to the right you have the San Francisco Giants, and to the left you have Pier 39. So why don't we walk down the ferry building and walk on the Embarcadero and take a ferry over to Sausalito. Sausalito is a town of 4,000 people. It's located right on the water, and it's a beautiful view. If you take the ferry, especially at 4 or 5 o'clock in the day, you'll be able to see the sunset. So it's a beautiful place. When I get there, I typically like to look at the music and art scene there, and then go over to Skoma's for fantastic petroli sole, which is one of their specialties there. One of the interesting things about Sausalito is that many people after the 1906 earthquake, when they lost their homes, they moved to Sausalito and lived on houseboats. So it is iconic for their houseboats. They have 400 people living in houseboats right now. And it's eclectic, it's interesting, it's bohemian, and it's one of the things that makes this area of the world so fascinating. I'm sure many of you remember the song Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. How many of you know where that song, or what that song was written about? It was written about Sausalito. So this is one of the many gems of the Bay Area. I'm happy to take you on more tours. So thank you for joining me, and have a good day. Thanks.